Hi guys, welcome to this last video in this series. So here we're going to be looking at how to animate this bad boy and just have a good product animation. Just a very simple one, the one scene animation. That's just what we want to do. So what I have in my head is I want to have a product that flies up from outside the frame from under, and then once it comes up, it swipes and rotates. That's just the product, the kind of animation I'm looking for. Okay, so that's the kind of animation. So what I'm going to do first is to um, go into this place and select my camera, and I want my camera to be zeroed out so it comes to the center. So if I hit my N key, I'll make sure I have my camera selected, and I will highlight everything like so. Type 0, enter is going to put it to the center like that. Okay, all right, so this is our front. All right, that's fine. So I'm going to come here, zero out that rotation, and we want this to be, let's say, 90. All right, so that's fine. So I'll use my move tool to move this like so. If I go into the camera, this is what the camera is seeing. Okay, and so because my output, I want my output to be sent to Instagram. I just say Instagram, for instance. So I'll have to go into my output, which is here, and make sure my resolution is the same, is the size for Instagram post. So I'll just leave it at 1080 by 1080, and that will resize this what I'm seeing in my camera. So if I go into the camera now, and I have more of a box kind of shape, all right, so that's that. So let's bring this camera all the way here, and let's see what else. If I come into the camera, this is what we have. I'm thinking I need to work on the properties of this camera. So the camera is selected. I'll come into the camera settings. Let's change the focal length. So we'll change this to like 80 to start with. Okay, so I think 80 is not bad. That is good. And so this is the frame. All right, this is what we have. This is the frame. So we want this guy to fly in from under up here. So we are going to be creating some controls to help us in this set. All right, so first things first, let's set the control for the box, because I do not want to animate the box movement itself. All right, so I will Shift A and bring in a circle, and that circle will be here. So I'll just scale the circle down, just way down, like so. And while I'm creating this circle here is so that I will use that to select my object. All right, so we have that circle, and then let's quickly start renaming. So this is going to be my park. So let's call this my product, and that circle will be the product control. So we'll just be control product. CTR product. All right, so this is the product controller, and then we're also going to create a separate controller for the camera. All right, so and we want to have a controller that will rotate this camera around. So let's see how we can do that. So we can actually duplicate this, the one we just created. So Shift D, press Escape, and move this into position where this camera is. All right, so we just want it to be exactly at that point. So we might need to zoom in and move that there. So what we just need is we need to change the rotation of this circle. So let's say this is the rotation we want. So let's just make this 90 degrees so that we have that. So this is going to be the rotation about Y, just rotating like so. Okay, so you will not really see that in a moment. So let's quickly start creating, or maybe I should create another control for the revolution, all right, around the product in case I want to change my mind. So I will select this. Let's change this control. This is going to be camera. It's going to be cam rotation Y. So we want to rotate about my Y for this. So let's just say, so RY means rotation Y. So let's duplicate this guy, Shift D, press escape, scale that all the way like so. We'll call this rotation about our Z. So this is going to be the cam rotation about Z. So it's going to be control cam RZ. So this will be rotating about the Z, while this one will be rotating about my Y. Okay, so we have all of these sets. So what I'm going to do is let's quickly start creating this control, start joining them and parenting them. First off, I'm going to apply the scale so that everything is applied. Control A, apply scale, everything goes to 1. Select this also, Control A, apply the scale, and we're fine. So let's set the product first. So I'm going to select the product first and then hold down Shift and select this control. Then Control P will bring up this, and I'll just say objects. And then we've parented that. So meaning if I select this now, I can move it and it's going to move the product. If I rotate, it rotates the product. All right. That's not what noting. So the next thing is I want the camera to be parented to this guy, while this will now be parented to this. All right. So that's the rig. So I'll select the camera first, hold down Shift and select this. And then if I don't want to use the shortcut Control P, you can also right click. Actually, then you have your parents, and then you can say, what is this? Sorry, object. Yeah, you can come to object here, and that will parent that. So if I select this now and I move, you see it's moving that. If I rotate, it's rotating that. So we were going to select this one, hold down Shift and select this other controller, Control P. We're going to parent the object, and that will parent that. You can see that all of them are now added into these as parents, right? It's parenting controls. That's what noting. All right. So, but the thing here is that I do not want to animate the position of this circle, and also do not want to animate any rotation except the Z. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock all of these positions so that I'm unable to move. I'm also going to lock my X rotation and my Y rotation. So we're only left with the Z rotation to change the Z. Okay, so I think it's not the Z that I actually need to. Yeah, it is the Y that I need actually. So we'll make this 0. And we're going to lock the Z. So we're changing this back to Y. Okay, so camera. Okay, it's actually Y that I chose. Sorry, it's Y. So it is the Y that we leave open. So sorry about that. So this second one, which is the Z, I'm going to lock the position because we are not moving this. I'm also going to lock my X and Y so that we will leave the Z. So why I did this is so that if I want to rotate this guy, this object will rotate about this product, and we're going to have something like a revolution around the product. All right, so and that's why I did that rig. So I don't have to start selecting camera. I can actually select this, just rotate, and the camera is there. Select this, just rotate, and this is the only rotation I'm going to have. All right. So once we have that rig set up, let's go into our camera. And then we want our animation to be, let's say, 4 seconds animation. So, and for us to know the frame rate we're using, we go into our output, yeah, if you go to your output, you see that the frame rate is 24. So I want to make it 30 FPS. So it's going to be 30 frames per second. So if we are going to make this 4 seconds, that means it's going to be 30 times 4, which is 120. All right. So if I just do this, 30 times 4 is 120. All right. So I'm just going to drag this down. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm just going to close this area. I'll come drag this into this so that we have this frame rate, and then we already have an animation set, but let's just delete all of these. Just select it and press delete key. So let's look at our animation. So we said we want to start um, with this product coming in into the scene. Sorry about that. So I want this to come in into the scene at, let's say 20, we can actually change that. So we want it to move in along the Y. So we can just hit the I to show this keyframe, then we want to change the location so that it records everything. And then at frame 1, we want this to move down. Okay, it's very important. So we want this to move down off the frame, and then hit I again, location. And if I go into the camera, I need to be sure it's off the frame. This is actually off the frame. So if I play through, this thing comes into this frame. So let me play by hitting spacebar. You see what happens. So what I want to do is, once this thing comes into position, I want it to wait a little bit before it swipes or it rotates. So let's have it wait a little bit, up to 60 frames. I want to keep this position. So I will just select this keyframe, Shift D, and I can move this here. And now that means this guy will wait for 60 frames before it rotates. So let's say the rotation is going to, I'm trying to see the rotation we're going to go for, maybe clockwise or anti-clockwise, I don't really know. But let's just say we want to rotate this way. All right, so we are going 360 degrees. So we're going to change that to 360 degrees. So once we change that to 360 degrees, we want to apply and animate the rotation. But now we have the rotation animated, but now we don't see anything because we did not record the keyframe for when it was at 0. So we just come in and change this to 0, hit I, and select the rotation. So that means this stays like so, then it swipes. Okay, so if I go into my camera and play this, and let me go outside this into shader so that the playback will be fast. If I play this, it goes in and waits a little bit, then it rotates, and that's that. So if I feel that the rotation is too soon, I can actually change the timing by selecting this and moving this to a later time, and that will make the rotation a lot slower compared to what we had there. All right, so you have that done. So that's pretty much the base of our animation. We want this to stay a little bit and do this, rotate, and then we are here. Also, there's one more control I forgot to add, and that control is the move control for the camera, because I'm going to let's say animate the movement of the camera. So let's just quickly create another object. So just Shift A, and maybe we are going to bring in let's see what we can bring in right here. So we have Okay, we'll have to still bring in this circle, and then we just move the circle into position. Maybe we want this to be under this guy, like so. Or I think maybe I should just do something different. So I'll delete that. I'll go to my top view. All right, so I'm going to bring in a Bezier curve. And so for the Bezier curve, what I'm going to do is come back into the top. I'm going to go into my tab to go into the edit tab. I'll select this guy, I'll delete it and delete that vertex, and then I have this point. You notice this point will have all this handle. If I use my scale and I scale this, I can type 0 to make the handle linear. So I can select this and use G to grab, and let's just start somewhere here. Let's just create this shape first off. So I'll hit my E for extrude. I want to come along my X. Just move a little bit along the X. Come all the way here. E extrude, let's go along the Y. Let's stop here. E X, maybe we want that to be at the middle of this. E, let's put this at the middle of this guy right here. E, let's bring it to the middle of here also. EX, let's bring it all the way to this point. EY, and then we'll bring this down. Just really close. You can still move this actually down. Let's just use our move tool to move this into position. So what I can now do is to come here and start changing some things, because right now you can see that these points are not aligned. So I'll just select this. As for scale, one scale along my Y, and I'll type 0. It's going to align all of them together. And maybe this should be centered more. I feel it's too deflected. And I'll select this SX0. So I'm scaling this, I'm scaling along the X, and then I'm putting in 0, SX, and then 0 and percent. I will have it. So this is basically what I want to have for this. If I hit my tab to go back to the object mode, so this is what I have. But now the issue is I want this guy's pivot to be here. So if I put on my what's it called? If I put on my snap, hold down my shift and right click and drag the right click, I can put this right here. And once I have that done, put off this, I can go to my objects, and then I have option to set my origin to 3D cursor, and then the origin will be here, so we can actually move this guy here. Now maybe I want the 3D cursor to be somewhere at the middle here, and then we'll go back objects, set origin to 3D cursor, and that will be just fine. So let's position this guy here. This is where the camera is, and also come into this view. I bring the camera down. So what we're doing is just setting up the position of this camera. So once we have this done, so what we want to do now is we want to actually put this as a child of this, and not, so we want this to be a child of the move and not this directly, while this will be a child of that. So let's select this, hold down shift and select this, Control P, object. So if we select this now, you notice this will now have okay, so we have Bezier. All right, so let's just change this to CTRL, Control P for position. So this will be position XYZ. So that means we can move this along our X, Y, and Z. So I want this position to now be parented this rotation. So Control P, and now we have this which will be driving this position, and then the position will be the parent of this. It's very important for us to know that we're going to be moving it. So we've already animated the camera. So sorry, we've already animated the products. Let's quickly um, finalize this. So if you come here, and so the way this product is coming in, I don't like the way it's coming in. So let's just finish up this. All right. So let's say, for instance, while we have these products here, if you see, we are stopping at 75. Okay, so that's fine. So while this product rotates, we want the position of this guy to move in. So we are moving into this position like so. We want to move along the Y, all right? So first things first, we need to record the position of this guy, maybe somewhere here. So I'll select this, I, location, and that's recorded. And then I'll move in, just move forward a little bit, and then I will move this into my object like so. Just make sure I can turn off this X-ray. I'll make sure that the camera is inside the box so that it feels like it enters that. Then I'll hit my eye again, location, and that's animated. If you look at that now, so this coming rotates. All right, so that's fine. So another thing I want is, if you go into the camera, I don't want the camera to be this straight while this flies in. I want the camera to be a little bit slanted like so. Maybe a little bit of a slant like this before it now comes down. Okay, so let's quickly do that. So at this position, while it's still here, let's look at the camera rotation. We want is the rotation Y. All right, it's the rotation Y. So we want to change the rotation Y. Okay, and if you look at the rotation Y, the value is 0. Okay, so that's fine. Maybe we want it to fall into this while it jumps here. So I, rotation. So instead of us clicking this for it to record everything, you can just go into this properties, this object properties, and click on this rotation Y. There's a dot in front of this padlock. If I click it, it's going to record that, only that. Then if I come all the way to this place, I can bring the rotation to what I want. So this is what I'm looking for, something like so. That's 15 is fine, so I'll record that. You can see we have that. So we have something like so. See that? So if I play this, okay, so we have that rotation, and then after a little bit, you can see what happens. After rotation of the packet, then my camera goes into the pack for a transition. So now this is looking not bad, but it's still mechanical. So let's see what we can do to make this look better. We need to look at how to make this look better. Okay, so how can we make this look better? I want to have this camera moving in gradually before it rushes into it. So if I go into the camera position, which is here, and before we get this position coming in like so, we want to gradually move this position away. So you can see from 91 it goes to 20, so we want it to increase this just a little bit, maybe like 102 minus 102, and then we just hit our eye location. So what happens is there's a little bit of movement is still going in a little bit. You can see the little movement before it goes in. So that's what we want. So it continues to zoom into the object gradually before it zooms into it totally. All right, so that solves that. So let's stop this at 90. So let's just put our end frame at 90. And then we are good with that. So the next thing we want to do is let's look at this package. All right, so we feel that this package looks too rigid. So let's add a little bit of interest to it. So if I select this package and I go to my tab key, I'm going to be adding some things to it so that we can start adding some effects, maybe bend, twist, and all of that. So, but we can't do that now because we don't have details on this product. So we need to add more details to this product so that we'll be able to do some stuff. All right. So tab. So if I hit Control R, I will just I will scroll my wheel to add more and press escape. Control R also here, add more segments. Click, press escape, and then I want to add to this edge also. Control R, add a little bit of this, press escape. Then we have all of these products, all of these spaces, which we can now start adding modifiers to. Okay. So let's go back into the camera and let's go into the modifier stack. I'm going to be layering up some things. So we want to have an effect where we can twist and then we can bend. So instead of so what you would expect that I will do is just to add one simple deformer and use both the twist and the bend, but I'm not going to be doing that here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding them separately into this object so that I can control them separately. But right now, the twist is going the wrong direction. So I will change it from here to the direction that fits. So this is the direction we want, and not the Z. Now the Z still is not bad actually. Let me see. Alright, so the Z and Y is not very bad, so I'll just pick any one of them. So we have that. Okay, and then this is for the twist, so I can just come in and type my twist here. Then I'll add another one, and this will be called bend. And so for the bend, I'm just going to change from twist to bend and look at the right position. So let me hide this so that I can see where I'm bending. See where I'm bending? That's not correct. Okay, so this is fine. This is the right bend position we want. Okay, so that's just that. If I bring this all the way here, this will limit where the bend starts from. So I want this bend to not start from the beginning like so. So that means this is going to be straight and then it bends all the way. So if I'm bending, it's just that part that will bend, just a little bit of that part. So, but if I want the impact to be much more, I can bring this down to that position, or I can actually use the other option, which is the upper limit, which is here, to say how much of the bend that I want when I'm bending. So this will set how much of the bend that I want. So once you go below the 0.5, it will change the position. So you don't want the upper to go below the lower, all right? So maybe this is what I want, and that's where the bend is going to be. So let's hide that and bring up our twist. Let's see if we can also use a limit so you can see what is happening here. If I come here, you can set our limits like so. Maybe we want to limit this to X and Y, or to just that axis. Okay, but I don't need that. So I will just come here, maybe bring this down like so first off, and let me see what happens. Okay, so I'm thinking we have that. So let's see. Okay, we have this is good, but we might need to come and change this axis, and let's see what we have. So the bending is coming from down, it should go from the top. So let's see. So 4, 5. If I go to Y and we do this, you can see what is happening. The position is not where I want. So let's see. Okay. Y. And if we change this guy here, I'm trying to get the right position for my okay. I guess I will just have to leave this here, so I'll just use this here, so that I don't waste so much of my time. So we have that done, and let's quickly go into our camera. So we have this, the camera, and adding this into this blend. So let's see how we're going to do this. So we have this object coming up here. We want it to twist in and also bend. Okay, so let's so this guy is open. So maybe the twist will, and let's look at the bend that we have. And maybe this bend should come the opposite direction. Okay, so we want this bend to come this opposite direction. And I also do not want this bend to be too much like so. So just a little bit of that bend, like this. And then for the twist, just also small, not too much. So we have that. So I'm going to keyframe this and this at 1. So while this thing goes up, we want this to overshoot a little bit. So we'll come here and maybe come to a little bit of like -5, just a little bit of overshoot. -5. Keyframe that and come to this bend and take this, let it overshoot. Let's say maybe like 5 or 10. Let's just say like maybe 7. Keyframe that. So what happens is that this jumps up and then I want it to come to rest. So at this point it's going to come to 0. This also comes to 0. Then I'll keyframe that and keyframe this. All right, so we have that. Let's go outside this mode and let's go into our camera. So this is what we have. We have the product that flies in, and maybe we can actually exaggerate the bend like so, and also the rotation, the twist. Let's see if we can exaggerate that. And this twist might not be too much. Let's just leave this as 40. And this bend, maybe we shouldn't even use this. So let's just take this here and here so that we can really see the bend play. All right, so I think this is good. So let's get rid of the restrictions, and then we will keyframe that. And then we have that. So we forgot to keyframe this. Okay, so we'll bring this all the way here. -62 is fine. We keyframe that. Okay, so we see this goes there, and let's overshoot this to like let's say a little bit of let's just say like 19, and then it gradually comes back. You see that's more stuff. And let's do the same thing for here. For the twist, we are going at 40. Let's make this 50. Keyframe that. And then come all the way to this place. Let's say -15, or or even minus 25. Keyframe that, and then we'll come back to this. So just see that little bit of interest. So if I'm to play this, all right, so that comes here. So we can change the timing, all right, so we can change the timing. But we just want to create everything first. Once we are done with everything, we are going to look at the timing. All right, so now this product, before it rotates, we also look at some more things. So this is where it rotates at 60 and it ends at 75. So we need to add an anticipation for the rotation. So before it rotates at that 60, we also look at the direction it's rotating. So it's rotating towards the direction. So we're going to use twist for that. The rotation is at 60. So here we want to maintain this twist. Just maintain this twist and bend just a little bit. And before the rotation, we want to have a little bit of change to this. So since this is rotating that way, we're going to twist the other way. Yeah, we want it to twist this way before it rotates. Let's just say this. Let's just say 30. And we'll keyframe that. And maybe we might also add a little bit of bend, like so. Maybe 11. And keyframe that. And so we just more like you have this. Alright. And it ends at 70. So for this at 70, sorry, it ends at 75. So for this 75, I will just move a little bit forward to like 78. We are going to take this back and have a little bit of an overshoot, maybe -5 for the bend. And maybe this one -10. And keyframe those two before it will now finally come to 0. Will finally come to 0. All right, so now the problem now is this is what we have. So this, and this comes and then rotates. So maybe we should bring this sooner, like so. And then if I go back into my camera, I'm thinking that this camera movement is also happens a lot sooner. So let's just bring this camera movements here. All right, so we have that. Okay, so I think we should. So while this rotates, you can see the stuff ends at 80. So we have to select this and make sure this also ends just before that 80. So maybe we'll bring this here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it stops here. Alright, let's play this through and see what happens. Let's go into our camera and get rid of this. We'll do this. Alright, so you see that. So here I'm feeling that the moving in is a little bit slow, and then the swipe is also. So let's look at the movement into this thing. So let's just bring this back up here, and which is this. So I can select everything like so. Or first of all, I can select this, move this closer so that the movement is a little bit a little bit faster. I still need to bring this in more. So let's bring this to like 10. So it just comes in. Alright. So since this thing comes into 10, so let me first of all undo. I think everything has been set. So I will just make sure I select every object that has been keyframed. So this is not keyframed. Is it? So this is not keyframe. So I'm still going to keyframe that. So maybe I should do everything before I just finish up this. So while I have this going, So while I have this rotation coming here, I want this guy, so I will finish up here like so. I want the rotation Z to be recorded at this point, and while we're here, I want the rotation Z to gradually come to the side, just like -5, just subtle, and do that so that there's a subtle movement before this goes in. Just it's a very subtle movement, and we want that. So I'm going to select everything that has the animations. Will have this. Hold down Control to select multiple object that has animation, and select this. Select my control product, and then I need to select the product here. I need to select the product. So I have everything like so. So if I select all of these objects like so, I can scale them down in just to scale everything proportionately. So if you check that, it moves in. All right, so we can still come back and move this to the first frame so that this will be the center of the scale. So I'll still scale this in a little bit. So let's play through. Let's go into this play through. See the movement is a lot faster, and you see that. So you see gradually. So I'm thinking there is a little bit of there's so much of timing here before this goes. At this point, it comes here. So I want to look at the object itself and see what you can see they are kind of too soon and wait before this goes. So I'm thinking that before this swipe, I want this to come here. So stays, go, and then yeah, that's better. If I play through, yeah, that looks better than what we had earlier. If I play like this, and I'm also looking at this guy. Their movement into this feels too slow. So I will select both of them like so and move them sooner so that they go into it sooner than having to wait. Just yeah, wait, and that's just perfect. So let's look at everything together. This goes into this, and then we move. So imagine I have this in my texture, showing my texture, and everything goes all the way. I think it's trying to calculate everything and show everything together. So let's just come here. Alright, so this is showing the sponge. So let's select this product and see what's happening. Okay, so we're here. And texture paints. Okay, for my texture paint, I want to select this color so that it shows the color. I may have missed my texture, so I will just quickly bring the other file that I've had this animation, and I think that will solve that. Okay, so I actually missed something, so let me just go back. I'll pause this and get my texture ready, and then I'll tell you what I missed. Alright guys, so I've gone ahead to retexture that, and why I missed that texture was because I forgot to save this texture when I was doing the texture painting. So this is what I should have done after I texture painted this stuff. That was in the previous video. I should have come up, I'm still in my texture paint workspace. I should have come up here to my image, and then I will come to save as. So I click on save as. You can see that it's saving it as a PNG format. So I'll just go to that project that I want to save this as. I'll just call this product material based color, and then I'll save that texture out. So the next time I save this, I close, and I won't have that problem. I will always still have this texture shown, regardless of whether I go in or out of this guy. So if I go into my layout, I'll be able to see this texture. Okay, so that's how I will do that. So if I go into my camera now, and let's just hide everything, and let's play through, and this is what I'm going to have. The product coming in, rotate a little bit, and then close up that. So that's how you would do that, and then you zoom into it. So what I can do also is to create an environment. So this is how I did the environment. Okay. Okay, so this is how I did the environment. I just created a cylinder to serve as a dome, and that cylinder is going to be centered. All right, so I just select this cylinder and make sure we center this. And then what I did was to make sure I scale this up to the point where it will take everything, including the camera. Because you can see that the camera is kind of going out of this dome right here. So I'll just select this, scale this a little bit up like so. Then I hit my tab key, select this guy, I can select this face and delete that face. Then right here I can select these edges, holding down Alt and make sure I'm in my two edges. Then Ctrl B to bevel. While I bevel and I move this up, I can scroll up to add a little bit of rounding to this. And now I have this. I can also Alt and click this, just move this down. I just want it to be such that when I'm looking up, I'm not seeing any other thing. So we have that. Maybe I might want to scale this even much more. So let's go outside and tab. Go to scale. I want to scale along my two axes. So we'll have something like that. And then maybe we are going to go back to the tab and move this up. And that's just about how I will do that. Or maybe I can actually move this down and move everything up like so, as long as this thing is still inside the dome. So if we come here and we're still inside the dome and we don't have any issues, so what I can just do is this guy, you can see we have seen the artifact, so just smoothing that, or we can add that into a subdivision surface. Then I now added a color, so you can just come in and add a texture to it. So the texture can be one of these texture that you want, and that's fine. So if I go into my render settings, so let me save this guy. So if I go into my render and I change this first off to this, you can see that everything is darkened, and it's because, okay, so we have this. If I change and I go and add into my word, I can add under my color, just click on this yellow button and go to environmental texture. And it's going to load this, and it's expected as always. Just click on the open, and let's open an HDRI. So let's just say we're going to use this outdoor HDRI, and that will light the scene. You can see just that HDRI alone is lighting. Then I can now finish up by adding lights to different angles to light everything. So this is not lighting tutorial, just to show you how to animate that. And then we have your product right there. So if I change this to cycle, and this will give me a better representation. like so. And then from here, I can start say maybe I want to go into my world. I want to increase the brightness like 2, and that will increase this more. And then we have this. So, all right. So this is how to do the animation set, and I'm going to also play this at the end of this video so you can see the animation again. So if you feel this was helpful, please do give me a like and a thumbs up. And also, if you are new to my channel, please do subscribe to this channel. So do have a wonderful day, and God bless you. Bye.